So when I talk about building muscle, building strength and doing it all from your home with very minimal equipment, people will often like get in touch and they'll say like, you know, I don't actually have a lot of weight, I train at home, I've only got a light kettlebell, I've only got very minimal pieces of equipment, which is absolutely fine because the good news is you actually don't need a lot, even if you train at home. Like people say, well, I'm not really lifting enough, and it's like, well, strength is relative to you at that time and where you are in your level. Like, never compare yourself to anybody else. Like, your strength training at home could be a 10 kilo kettlebell, if that. You know, it depends on your training level, your age level, you know, where you're at in life. So I always try to encourage people that something is always better than nothing. Starting somewhere and just being like, it's not about perfection and getting it right every single time. It's about that little bit of progress. It's like just that 1% better than you did the day before. And this is like for everything in like nutrition, training, lifting, everything, you know, training the dogs, working with the kids, stuff like that. It's all about that 1% and being a little bit better. As long as you're doing that, you're always on the right path to somewhere. But yeah, you don't really need a lot of weight. You can do this all in your home. Like say strength training, building muscle mass, it's relevant to you at that time. And the good news is, like, you know, you don't need to pay attention too much to like what people are saying about the optimal range. Like, we're not going for optimal, we're going for progress. And luckily, if you're training at home with like very minimal equipment, like you could build muscle mass from anywhere from like sort of 5 reps right up to 30 reps. It just depends on just utilizing different energy systems, which is fine. But if there's one thing that you take away from this clip, is that the key driving factor of building muscle mass is like the last few reps. Like, you know, you've got to get close to failure, like reps in reserve. So even if you're training at home with like 5, 10, 8, 12 kilo kettlebell, the main thing, no matter what exercise you're doing, is that you take it pretty close to failure. Like, you know, you get there and you start to really push yourself in them last few reps, because it's them last few reps where it's all going to count. So when people say like you can't get good results at home and there's not enough equipment, you can't do stuff, it's like, it's about just making progress and doing what works for you. And if working for you is what, you know, is training at home, just bear in mind that the most important factor that you need to key in is that when you're doing any of these exercises, is that you push yourself a little bit and get to them last few reps. Because it's them last few reps where it really does stimulate the muscle processing synthesis, and then you've got to top that off with having protein and getting your diet sorted. So yeah,